Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Mr. President, dear Antonio, dear colleagues, good morning to you all. And I'm grateful for the Italian Foreign Ministry and for SB for convening this conference at a time, as the President of SB described, a very challenging time for the region, a time of peril, a time of despair. And he said convening this conference was a choice. And I think getting out of the miserable reality that the region is living now is also a choice that we all have to make for the sake of our people, for the sake of our region, for the sake of peace, stability, and security for all. It has become more challenging for any of us, I guess, to speak at such forum, because everything that needs to be said have been said. What has been missing is action to translate our collective message of peace into a reality, and so that we can get over the misery of war and destruction that have haunted the region, not just for a year, but for decades, if we are to look at the comprehensive picture. Do we describe the situation? I think a year into the conflict in Gaza, everybody who wants to know what's happening is brutally aware of what's happening in Gaza. Put it simply, over a year of aggression in Gaza has destroyed a whole community. Gaza is now a graveyard for children, a graveyard for human values, a graveyard for international law. Israel has killed over 40,000 Palestinians, destroyed schools, hospitals, infrastructure. UNRWA today just warned of the fact that over 500,000 Palestinians in Gaza now will suffer from floods as the rainy season begins and the sewage system and pipeline system has been destroyed. The Israeli newspaper Haaretz has reported that Jabalia, once the largest refugee camp in Gaza, has now been reduced to rubble. It is uninhabitable, it said. So this is the reality of misery that we have. Move to the West Bank. Even before October 7, all horizons for peace were closed. Settlements, confiscation of land, eviction of people from their homes, denial of the need to move forward with a peace plan have destroyed hope and have killed what took years of effort in terms of building people's belief in the viability of peace. Move to Lebanon, again. We have a conflict, we have a war that continues in Lebanon. There are news now of a possible ceasefire. We all hope and pray that this ceasefire will be realized, because the absence of it will mean more destruction and more war and more animosity and more dehumanization and more hatred and more bitterness, which will doom the future of the region to more conflict and more killing and more destruction. Syria, the world has come to live with status quo politics. As long as the crisis is not affecting everybody else, global actors as it were, then we can live with the crisis. But the cost of that is that millions of people have been displaced, millions of people have been living in poverty. Terrorism is thriving again, drug trafficking, weapons trafficking is also emerging. This is the reality of the Middle East, despite the fact that, as the President of ISPI said, this is a region that has a tremendous promise with its multiculturalism, its rich history, its rich human talent. We can make it a better place. But how do we make it a better place? By simply achieving peace, a peace that will allow everybody in the region to live in security, in dignity, with hope, with opportunity. And how do we move about to bringing that peace? And I think the answer is simple. In the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, we in the Arab world have been ready for peace. Our Arab Peace Initiative goes back to the year 2002. We want a just and lasting peace that will guarantee the security of Israel and guarantee the security of everybody in the region and fulfill the rights of the Palestinian people to freedom and statehood. Live and let live. That is what we're putting on the table. Because war, as history has shown, will not bring about security, will not bring about peace, will not bring about prosperity, will not allow us all to tackle the challenges that are denying our young people the future that they deserve. How could a war that has denied 650,000 kids in Gaza their right to go to school is going to produce peace? Now, Lebanon has also decided that all schools in Beirut will be closed for the year because schools have been turned into shelters. How is this going to guarantee security for Israel, or guarantee security for the Palestinians, or guarantee security for our region? These are the fundamental questions that need to be addressed. So our proposal in Jordan has been at the receiving end of every crisis in the region. And therefore, when we speak of peace because we know the consequences of the absence of peace, not just on us, but on the whole region. What are our priorities for now? If I am to set them in order of priorities based on the impact of the current situation, we need an end of the aggression in Gaza and in Lebanon. We need a ceasefire, permanent ceasefire that will stop the killing, stop the destruction, and restore a sense of normalcy to life. And after that, we need to launch a massive humanitarian effort to address the humanitarian catastrophe that exists in Gaza. And we in Jordan have been ready, we've been working to send as much aid as we can into Gaza, send food, send milk formula, send whatever, bread, flour, anything. And we can surge our humanitarian effort, but for that to happen, we need the crossing points to open. And His Majesty was very clear that Jordan is ready to launch a humanitarian bridge, aerial bridge, land bridge, to send as much aid as we can to Gaza. And we're ready to do that, and we're grateful for the support that our partners have shown in this effort. And my dear friend Antonio mentioned to the cooperation between Jordan and Italy on that. And then we need to start looking at the broader picture. How do we make sure that this misery does not happen again? And for that not to happen again, we need to look at the root cause of the conflict. And the root cause of a conflict is that there is an occupation that has yet to show any signs of ending. On the contrary, it is being consolidated. So the peace that we put on the table is a peace that would, as I said, fulfill the rights of the Palestinian people to statehood, fulfill Israel's right to security, and we all in the region, as we've said, we are willing to collectively guarantee the security of Israel in the context of a peace that ends occupation and allows for the establishment of a sovereign, viable, independent Palestinian state on the basis of the two-state solution, June 4, 1967, lines with East Jerusalem as capital. If we do that, then we will have solved the biggest problem in the region, because everything else is one way or the other a function of this conflict. If you bring about that Palestinian-Israeli peace, then the whole region will start addressing the consequences of the failure to achieve that peace for decades, and then we can all come together to address the other challenges that we have. We have a young population that need jobs, that need education. Only if we have peace and we come together, we can provide the opportunity that our young people deserve. And we can start working on that. We can start addressing the challenge of unemployment. That is a huge challenge for all of us in the region. We can start addressing the challenges of environment, climate change, cooperation, all of these things. For that to happen, we need to have peace. And then we can also start really getting global actors with regional actors together to address the broader challenges that our region faces. In Europe, there's tremendous concern with migration. And we understand that concern, because we in Jordan, again, as the largest per capita host of refugees in the world, we understand that this is a challenge that must be addressed. But in order for that challenge to be addressed, we need to solve the root causes again of the migration and refugee issues. And we go to Syria, and that means a political solution needs to be implemented immediately. Doubling down on positions that have done nothing but prolonged the crisis for decades is not going to solve the problem. So can we all come together again in an effort to try and bring about a political solution that would end the Syrian crisis on basis that guarantee its sovereignty, independence, territorial integrity, and safety of its people, and move forward? If we do that, we solve the issue of refugees, because we will then have created conditions conducive for refugees to go back to their country, and that again needs global actors to come together with regional actors to do that. The challenge that we're facing is that even before October 7, there has been a kind of normalization with the problems that we have. Let's just manage them. But what did good management do us? Before October 7, we were clear in Jordan in warning against the consequences of the absence of peace horizons. I think if you recall His Majesty King Abdullah's speech to the General Assembly in September of last year, where he was unequivocal in warning that unless we restore hope, the region is going to explode. and exploded dead in ways that have shamed all of us because we've been unable to solve that challenge thus far. So we cannot just normalize with conflict. We cannot agree to management of conflict. So we've got to be honest with each other. We've got to say that the security of the Middle East is key to the security of Europe. As you said, Antonio, we are one region, and this region needs to come together. And I think we need to have clarity on what we need to do. We need to start again, move from the mode of crisis management into crisis resolution. And for doing that, you have partners in the region. As I said, we in the Arab world are ready, willing, able to work with everybody to bring about, on the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, to bring about a just peace that guarantees the rights of the Palestinians and the security of Israel, because they go hand in hand. We do fully understand that unless the Palestinians' rights fully are fulfilled, and unless Israel's right to security is fulfilled, we'll never have that peace that we all deserve. And then, as I said, we move in other crises, whether in Lebanon, whether in Syria, whether in other parts of the world, and we come together and move forward. Other than that, my friends, I think we're all looking at the immediate impact of the conflict. Very few are looking at the longer-term impact of the conflict. We in Jordan, being in the region, we have to look at the longer-term impact. And the biggest challenge that we're going to have is how are we going to navigate the bitterness, the dehumanization, the anger, the hatred that have come out of this conflict. Unless we're able to put an alternative, unless we're able to put a solution, unless we're able to restore hope, we will not be able to do that, and the region will be doomed to more conflict. What we're asking for is fairness. What we're asking for is implementation of international law equally, regardless of the race and balance of power of the parties to the conflict. What we're asking for is respecting our humanitarian values, and what we're asking for is for all of us to come together with clarity on what needs to be done to bring about peace to our region, so that we can all come together and addressing the biggest challenge of making life better for all our peoples in all its dimensions. We cannot wait no more. We cannot just pay lip service to solutions anymore, including the two-state solution. We have to act, and we have to act now, because failure to act is making every day worse than the day before it, whether in terms of humanitarian suffering, in terms of respect for international law, in terms of how people see each other, south versus north. That divide is deepening, and we've got to bridge it before it is too late. So my call here is a call that Jordan has always made. Let us come together. Let's make sure that we end conflicts, end the suffering, end discrimination in terms of the application of international law, and move on a track that will guarantee peace and prosperity for all our regions, so that we can again rise up to the challenge of building a better future for all our people. Thank you so much.